Hi, I'm Rachael Phillips, and welcome to this week's energy forecast for October the 2nd through to October the 8th. So we are now moving closer and closer to Christmas. So it's the last part of the year, the last 3 months of the year. So now any of the choices and any of the decisions that you've made is now about being able to start finalizing and finishing up this year, making sure that you've achieved all of your dreams that you've wanted to. Now, when I was doing the shuffling for this card to see what this week's energy forecast was, it was really quite exciting because each one of these cards was a jumping card. Now, for anyone that doesn't know what a jumping card is a message that your soul is really trying to convey to you, and it's really trying to capture your attention to bring a message forward for you. So it seems to be quite exciting that each and every one of these cards was a jumping card. It all just sort of fell out like a little pack. So let's go in and see what this week's energy forecast brings through to us and the message that our soul is trying to convey to us. The overall theme is about balance and being able to go in and have a look at your belief systems. So how does that happen? The very first card for the week is grounding, which is for Monday and Tuesday. What grounding does is it enables us to become recalibrated and realigned. That means that it is an indication that our mental, emotional, physical, and soul structure is out of whack. And therefore, what happens when there's no balance within all of those elements of our own self, we lack clarity, we lack direction, things seem to be watered down, and we lose enthusiasm as well. Our physical structure will start to feel a bit either very, very exhausted, or on the opposite end, which is a little bit all over the place energetically, which you can see that is playing out through the lack of balance in the mind, which shows up in the chaos card. You can see that the lack of balance is showing up in our physical structure, which is in the energy, and therefore it's affecting our belief systems around ourselves. So grounding is going to be so very incredibly important. Now, what that does is that there are a few different things that people can do to ground themselves. It is very, very simple. It doesn't need to be a very, very long technique. You can just simply visualize that you are standing out on Mother Earth, on the grass, and feel that vibration connection to yourself. And therefore, we have over millions of nerve endings that finish in our feet. And so therefore, our energy vibration connects in with Mother Earth, and it enables us to become more centered, and it interjects that lack of balance, and it brings everything back to an equilibrium. So therefore, this is so very important. Now, every person will have a different way in which to ground. So as I mentioned, I'm just going to explain 2 different ways that you can ground yourself. You can actually visualize that you're standing out on the grass and feel that your energy is moving through every single layer of the Earth's crust until it reaches the core of Mother Earth. And therefore, you can sit in that energy space. And then when you feel that really nice bond with Mother Earth, then you can feel that transference of her energy traveling back up that energy field and enter back into your physical structure via your feet, and then filling up every single part of your body. So that's one, is a visual technique, because visually we know that if we can see it, then the mind believes that it's doing it. The other is you can actually physically go outside and do that and actually feel that beautiful connection with Mother Earth on the bottom of your feet. It allows that electric biofield connection, and you'll start to notice that your heart rate starts to become calmer. You will notice that your mind will stop racing, and you'll feel more clarity in your thoughts and your thinking. Therefore, that will enable you to make better decisions, because usually when there's the grounding card coming up, it's a very big indication that you're not really making any traction going forward in any direction at the moment. You're just almost like just going around and round in circles, because you are lacking any really good decision-making processes, and therefore it means that you don't trust yourself. So grounding is a really good way to bring back not only that recalibration and connection of energy within to our physical structure, but it also enables us to build that level of trust within ourselves, because therefore you're going to be able to take the next step forward in your journey, being able to achieve your dreams once you feel balanced. So when this card comes up, and as you can see, there's quite a few reference points around how important it is to bring this balance in. I would say this is going to be something that needs to be done, whether it's done daily or even a couple of times throughout the day. There is no set amount of times that you can do this. So the moment that you start to feel out of sync again, out of balance, it's a really good way to just bring those grounding techniques in, and also just being around the earth. So you could do little things like gardening, anything, going for walks in nature, all of those kind of things that enables you to be able to connect to nature is also going to help bring that balance back into your world. So that's Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday through to Friday, you can see that due to that lack of balance, there's chaos. Now, chaos is where the mind is so overwhelmed with so many ideas, so many thoughts. And what's happened is, because of all of those ideas and all of those thoughts, you've been able to manage to break them down into tiny bite-sized little pieces. But now what you have is you have a multitude of what ifs, should I, how come, all of those kind of ideas that are bringing so much doubt. And what happens is that when we start going into that mindset frame, we actually start becoming very, very disconnected to our own self. And we start becoming very, very disconnected to our environment and the people that we're around it, because we're getting stuck in our head. This card is a really good indication that it's time to really prioritize. So whenever this card appears, I always make the suggestion that to brain dump and write all of your ideas and suggestions down on a piece of paper. So therefore, you're taking it out of your mind. You can actually visually see all of that noise that's going around in your head, and go through your list and actually look at what is a priority and what is noise. Because what can happen when that nervous system is switched on from being out of balance, we start to think everything is a priority. We start to think everything needs to be done right now. And we get into a mental state of thinking, and we lack the ability to feel, and therefore the brain just keeps pumping out more and more and more information into the mind, and it makes it become incredibly busy. But a lot of the time that busyness doesn't always mean that it is productive. It's just noise. So by writing it down allows you to be able to eliminate the noise and be able to look at a action plan or a focus plan more pointedly. Because when you write down and have a look at what is the priority for you, then you can just go through the list and step by step only focus on one task at one time, and then once you have completed that, you can move on to it. And by having it written down, you take away all of that distraction in your mind. And the really cool thing is that because we as humans, we like rewards, this is a very cool way that once you have completed a task, you can cross it off your list, and that is your reward to see that you have actually achieved and taken one step. Because as you could see, that grounding showed that there was no traction going on. So this is a really good way to recalibrate and get yourself back into an alignment with chasing your dreams. And it's also, when this card comes up, you can also see that it is can be a procrastination tactic, where we start to think, oh, I'm so consumed by all of my thoughts, and I don't know which direction to go in. And that in itself can be a procrastination tactic. So just really attain that clarity that you need through bringing in the grounding technique, and therefore focus only on one thing at one point, so that you can start to change those belief systems. Because when we get into this, I'm not going to say it's just a mindset state. It's a mindset, it's an emotional, it's a physical, and it's a soul state in which we get ourselves into. You can see that by the weekend, managing your energy is going to be paramount, because the exhaustion that it goes into when we think all the time, it totally consumes our whole being, and therefore it starts to consume our energy in lots of different channels. So when this card comes up, it's a very good indication to be very, very mindful of whereabouts are you distributing your energy. Are you giving it in the direction of things that are just consumable noise, so the noise that's in your head, the must-dos, the should-dos, the have-tos, or are you actually investing your energy and making sure that you're chasing your dreams, aligning yourself and staying in that beautiful flow, being able to look at how to manage your energy? So this is an indication that there will be waves in which your energy flow will start to filter through. So there'll be peaks where you feel awesome and wicked. And that's the time to really get stuck into the nitty-gritty of some of your things that are on your list and start ticking them off. But it's also a time to recognize that there may be moments where your energy starts to waver. And there is the time to bring in that mindfulness of, don't push yourself. Don't force things to happen. Just stay in that beautiful natural flow and things will happen easily. It's also a really good indication of not only are you channeling your energy towards your dreams, but it's also showing the indication that there is, what is occurring is that there is I'll get it out. Remember I said at the start, when we when we are out of balance and we don't feel like we're in sync, our dreams and our goals start to become incredibly filtered and watered down, and therefore we feel like all of there's no real passionate urge behind your passion and dreams. You start to think, well, maybe not on the right track. This is an indication that if you manage your energy, you're always going to have the passion in the direction of what's so incredibly important for you. And this enables us to be able to eliminate things that are not working for us. If you have to force things and if you have to push things all the time, then maybe it's time to be able to have a look at what is occurring in your world. This is the very last card, which is indicative of, as I mentioned, our belief systems. Perception is an indication that with all of the cards indicating a lack of balance, a distraction of being stuck in your ideas and in your thoughts and not allowing yourself to drop down and come into a feeling state, your energy is becoming incredibly challenged at this point. And what that does is that triggers a heightened sensitivity. And this is where this belief system comes in. When we have a heightened level of sensitivity, it's a really good time, because that heightened level of sensitivity is going to be about your perceptions. And you'll start to think that things are happening to you, or that because of this person, they've triggered this in it. This is a really great card because it's actually getting you to go in and have a look at some of your belief systems. Are some of those belief systems contributing to these distractions that are going on in their world? Are your belief systems exhausting you on an energetic level? Are your old belief systems getting trapped in your mind? And this is a really good time to drop down into finding out what is being reflected back to you, and then being able to go in and ask yourself the question at a core level: do you actually believe that to be true for you or not? So it's a really contemplative week, where it's about sort of going within, checking in with yourself, but also going and asking a few really important questions around your belief systems, because as we are achieving our dreams, we are going to find that our belief systems will start to become altered. New beliefs will be starting to come in, and it's that transition between moving between old world and new world. And new world, you know that you're in the right direction, but old world will hold you in a place filled with doubt. And all you will find that is in that doubt, there is a lack of belief within yourself to some degree. And so therefore you can go in and have a look at what those doubts are. Do you find that that story is true for you? How can you challenge that belief to make a really clear, conscious decision as to whether you truly believe in it or not? And if you discover that you don't believe in it anymore, that is so very, very cool, because that's where transformation occurs. And it is that moment where you get to decide what is the story that you want to tell yourself. So It's a very, very exciting week, but it's going to be a week where you go within. And so remember not to get trapped into your head. Remember to bring some of those thoughts down and actually drop them down into your heart and ask yourself, how do you actually feel about some of the ideas and the concepts? Because when you bring things down into a feeling state, that's going to give you a really big and a really good indication as to whether something feels right for you. We can always think that something will you can think a solution that you think will feel right for you, but it's not until you actually bring that down into your heart center where you can actually then connect in and actually see, because our intuition works in this incredibly beautiful, soft way, and feelings are a very, very good indication as to whether something is in alignment with you. So if you bring a thought down and you allow it to just sit and ask yourself, how do you feel about this choice or this decision that you want to make? If it doesn't feel right, that's a really great indicator that you don't need to invest any more time and energy into something, because your soul is actually conveying a message to you that it's not right for you. Now, it may not be that it's not right for you overall, or it could be that it's just not right for you just at this point, but you won't be able to define that until such times as you bring some of those ideas in. And what that does is, by bringing those ideas down into that feeling sense, you start to bring and unite all of those four aspects of self back in, and therefore you start to become more balanced and more in sync with what your truth is. And that's what makes it incredibly exciting this week. So just remember, this is a week of being gentle, and it's a week of going within and being soft with yourself, but also bringing yourself back into an alignment so that you can get that momentum and traction going again. So have a very, very cool week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.